One of the most immersive things you can upgrade on your flight simulator is to a Force Feedback Yoke. This is the Brunner CLS-E NG Force Feedback Yoke, and it will blow your mind, I promise you. Just quickly, Brunner sent this test unit out to me, which will be going back. This is not a sponsored video, and there's been no input from them on anything going forward. This will be the first time I've never flown with it. Now, I have had a poke into the software and I got it connected. It's sitting on a default profile. It's already done its, okay, let's just check the profile manager. Okay, it's saying the yoke seems to be vibrating. I don't know if you can see it. You can probably see it on the GoPro there on the side. It's not making any noise. That's quiet as. Right, we're just gonna take it up for flight. Wow, what is happening there? I think, let's go to the external view. Check that out. That's the weight of the elevator, like dropping down. That feels amazing. It literally feels like there's a weight in it, and it's let's just get this thing going. All right, so I think that's engine vibration that I must be feeling. Brakes are off. Prime the rudder, flaps on takeoff, full throttle. That must be the engine RPM. It really kind of got much more smooth and fine as the RPM picks up. Oh, and the throttle's starting to push back on me now. That's got to be the elevator. What I think is engine vibration. Let's just test it. That is engine. That feels absolutely amazing. Holy shit. Right, let's just take it out for a fly around. I'm not going to do any proper flying. We're just going to try and test it out. As expected, there's a definite sense of weight when you put any input into the ailerons. This is pretty calm weather that I'm flying in at the moment, so I'm not expecting it to go too crazy. Let's try and see if we can get it to stall. All right, we'll pitch it up. Here we go. Let's see what happens. I'm going to find it hard to describe how this feels, but it's extremely quiet and smooth, but there seems to be, there's definitely a lot of refinement in the feedback that I'm getting. This whole thing, I mean, it feels alive is the only way I can describe it. Absolutely alive. Now, I cannot wait to get into some of these stormy landing challenges and try it out. Absolutely incredible. It weights up, so yeah, that definitely weighted up there. So the, how do I explain this? The faster the airspeed I seem to have, the more pressure is required to roll the plane. I mean, this tops, yeah, it does actually. This tops anything I've tried this year. Absolutely amazing. And I can't get over how quiet this thing is. Not a rattle, not a squeak, nothing. We need to trim this out, and I'm going to just try the trim switch on the yoke itself. Oh yeah, it's working. I haven't programmed that. That's just on its own. You can really feel it. You can really feel it. And this is a default profile. I should have said this at the start. I haven't touched anything in the sim yet. I'm sure I'm going to be able to, by what I saw, I'm going to be able to change quite a bit in there. But this is just running default, and already it's like insane. Absolutely insane. How they've managed to make something so smooth and quiet, but responsive at the same time. This is just feels super, super responsive. And I cannot get over how good the RPM, like the feeling of RPM in the plane, it gets so granular on the higher end. It really feels like real. Let's just fly her back, we'll put her back down on the runway and see what it's like coming down. I'm just going to put that into a stall once more, off the power, up we go. How cool is that? And then when it speeds back up, pushes the yoke back out with the elevator. Oh shit, it's gonna crash. Oh. As soon as we lose speed, the yoke is pulling in under the weight of the elevator. As soon as we gain some airspeed, the yoke is pushing back out as the elevator naturally kind of wants to come up. That's what I think is happening anyway, based on, you know, what I saw in the software and what I'm feeling. I keep saying this, but this thing is absolutely silent. I don't know how they've done it. There's no noise coming from this whatsoever, like nothing. Yet you can feel all this feedback coming through the yoke. Absolutely incredible. All right, we're 100 knots. We need to pull the airspeed down a little bit. You come down onto landing flaps. You can land these Cessnas pretty slow. All right, we're full flaps. It just gets sluggish. You can feel that through the yoke. You can feel the sluggishness and the unresponsiveness of the plane, especially under, you know, what are we sitting at now? 85. I mean, we're pulling down under 80 knots now. Landing's looking pretty good. We're at 70 knots. I'm going to come off further. Aiming for 50 is what I want to get to. 58, 57. Down we come. A little bit of a flare. Eyes on the horizon. Oh, a bit of a heavy landing actually. As soon as it hit the tarmac and the plane immediately slowed down, the weight of the elevator just comes down. Yoke pulls in. What an incredible piece of equipment. Let's go over the main features. In a nutshell, this yoke will generate force feedback in the form of pitch and roll. And you'll feel turbulence, stalling, engine vibration, buffeting, trimming, pretty much all the senses you'll get through your hands from flying a real aircraft. This is going to replicate it and more if you want it to, like ground textures, landing, and so on. Let's get a little bit technical for a second. It has 1.7 Newton meters of roll force, and that's rotational, and 40 newtons of pitch, which is linear. It uses brushless motors. Travel pitch is around 90 millimeters. Travel roll is at 90 degrees, 180 degrees all in. It has a high quality Beechcraft style yoke handle, and it looks very much like a one-piece molded unit. It comes with its own software, which is extensive, a little bit aged looking, but very extensive. The base is made from metal and it's fairly heavy, coming in around 5 to 6 kilograms. Now, the footprint of the base was 340 by 205 millimeters. It's got a steel plate in the bottom with mounting holes for screwing down. It's compatible with Microsoft Flight Simulator, X-Plane, DCS and Prepared. It claims to be maintenance free and it comes with a 2-year warranty. Now that's quite reassuring. So we get the basic features out of the way. It's time to talk about the build quality. Now, this is made in Switzerland, so my expectations were just like instantly high, way before it even got delivered, and so it should be. I'm glad to report this whole unit is built extremely well. Everything from the base unit to the yoke wheel, which I'll get to in a second, the mounting points, the paint finish, the connecting rod, like impeccable. And there's no surprise it's quite expensive just by looking and feeling it, as is the general landscape for force feedback yokes. But we'll get to the price soon. Now, the base unit feels quite heavy, and that's definitely a reassuring point. The mounting points are made from steel plate. The connecting rod feels like steel or some sort of metal. It feels strong. I can't see any play, and it's super smooth when turned on and in use. Now, the yoke handle. This looks like a one-piece molded high-quality plastic. One thing that I was really pleased to see is the level of finish on the yoke handle. There's no visible signs of play, creaking, no noise. It feels great in the hands. The trim control switch, super high quality, and it works very well on the sim. The 3 momentary buttons, again, the same. Very high quality buttons. The POV stick on the right hand side, while not quite matching the buttons and the switches on the left, there's nothing to complain about there. It's about the same quality you'll get from a standard Xbox or PlayStation controller. One thing to note is that the yoke handle is about 15, maybe 20% smaller than that of the standard real-life Beechcraft Bonanza yoke. Not a huge deal in any sense, but something to be aware of, especially if you're spending this kind of money. The build quality of this whole unit is great. That was evident from the moment I unboxed it, but how does How does it feel to fly? Well, you've seen my first impressions, and I've been testing this for a few weeks now, 3 weeks to be exact. I've got some deeper and more experienced comments to make about this. The first thing to mention is that this thing is super quiet and smooth. It really is. I liken it to the difference of, let's say, a direct drive sim racing wheel to an older style wheel that's maybe belt driven. It's that kind of quiet. You might not initially think that that's important, but for me, it just makes the experience that much nicer and more immersive. One weird thing is that I never seem to want for too much more rotational force. Now, I wasn't expecting this. Based on my previous experience with force feedback yokes, I was expecting this to feel a little on the weak side, bearing that it's got 1.7 Newton meters of peak force, but to my surprise, it didn't. Now, this could be to do with the smaller yoke handle, giving the feel of stronger forces applied. I'm not sure, but I was quite surprised or impressed. I'm used to flying with a yoke that has 140 millimeters of linear travel. This yoke has 90 millimeters. And I have to be honest and say that I did miss the travel a little bit in my first probably 3 to 4 days of using the yoke. But I quickly got used to it, and after 2 to 3 weeks it was a complete non-issue. You know, I don't even think about it. Flying with this yoke is addictive. There's no other way to put it. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you thought flight simulation was addictive, try using a force feedback yoke. Going back to flying without one, well, the aircraft just feels dead. To top it off, it's just so smooth and precise feeling if you get it dialed in right in the software. The feeling of engine rumble and vibration, which gets more granular as the RPMs start to ramp up. The way it deals with prop wash, the weight of the flaps when it's sitting on the tarmac. Turbulence is handled in a very smooth way, but at the same time it can feel very refined and reactive. Even vibrations when the aircraft is like buffeting or stalling. It's incredible. Some of these things have got the software to thank for that, and we'll talk about that soon. But the yoke as a whole is the most immersive yoke I've ever tried. Brunner have created something quite special here. So I touched on the software earlier, and this is a very important part for any product like this. Brunner own their own software which comes with the yoke, and it works for Microsoft Flight Simulator, X-Plane, DCS, and Prepared. It's easy to install. The drivers for the yoke itself auto-install when you plug it in, and you just need to go to the website, which you'll be directed to from the manual, to get the CSL to Sim software. I'm not that technical and I had no issues installing it and getting it up and running. The CSL to Sim software is extremely deep and quite functional. You can adjust almost everything you can think of and more. Way more than I'm brave enough to tinker with. As a quick list of your options, here are some of the effects I found to be quite important. You've got the pull force, you've got motor vibrations, ground vibrations, turbulence, stick shaker effects. I mean, we're really just skimming the surface here, but like, you get the idea. Then you have the profile cloud. This is where you can download other user profiles which are also star rated. You can even use any of these as a baseline to get you started and then just like adjust it from there. To my surprise though, there's not many existing profiles in here. I'd love to see more in there, especially from any real-life pilots. I would also like to have seen Brunner official profiles for all the popular X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator planes. It would be great to have an official baseline to work from rather than just the single default profile. You can also tie a profile to a plane by simply clicking Link to Current Aircraft. Overall, it's awesome to see Brunner taking ownership of their own software. I've no doubt this is feeding into the success of the yoke, because if your software is shit, it doesn't really matter how good the yoke is. They go hand in hand. Now it's time for us to address the elephant in the room, the price. This yoke is 1,250 euros. That's about 1,340, 350 USD. Now, it ain't cheap, but is the value there? And I'm going to say that it is, purely based on what I've just experienced over the past few weeks. The price is backed up with an excellent build quality and software implementation. I never had one single issue or frustration in all my time testing, not one. The software and the yoke connected flawlessly every time. I haven't seen it crash out yet, and I've been using it every day for the past 3 weeks. For something so complex to work like it does and integrate into an already complex flight sim, that's an achievement. So who is this yoke for? If you're still here after I mentioned the price, then it could be for you. This is for the deep enthusiast simmer, someone who wants to put immersion above all else, because this is the single biggest leap you'll ever make in creating a simulator that you'll just lust after for years. It's also probably great for use in some training applications too, but I can't really comment on that side. This is just hands down for someone that wants the best there is and wants to feel every inch of the aircraft and what it's doing. You have to be pretty serious about flight sim? You have to be pretty serious about flight sim to be even thinking about buying one of these. And also not short of a penny or two. But if you decide to part with your cash, I'd be very surprised if you weren't blown away by how much enjoyment it adds to this sim. Being able to feel the air travelling over the wing, the engine vibrations, the lifting sensation of the aileron with airspeed when taking off, the vibration as it buffets, the landing, the weight of the deflected surfaces based on speed. It's mind-blowing, it really is. The whole yoke just feels like alive. It's also easy to set up and get running. The quality is where it should be based on the price, and the experience of flying is just second to none.